All right, today's question paper is from Gauteng, which was written in June 2025, right? So I just took the algebra section. The other sections will be found on other videos. So let's start, right? So question 1.1.1 said x squared plus 4x is equals to 0. So when you're having this x squared plus 4x which is equals to 0, you must first observe that here you've got x squared and here there is an x. So x is a common factor. So you factor out x, meaning to say that now you've got x, and here you are left with x plus here there is 4, which is equal to 0. So in other words, here we've got x, which is equals to 0, or x plus 4, which is equal to 0. Now, here we now say that x plus 4 is equals to what? Now we say, therefore, here we've got x, which is equals to negative 4, and therefore here x is equals to 4. And then you get your 2 marks. Done. We go to the next question, which is 1.1.2. 1.1.2, we were given 2x squared minus half, which is equals to 3x, and they requested that we correct it to 2 decimal places, the answer. So what do? First, we transpose this 3x, so we are going to say 2x squared minus 3x minus half, which is equals to 0. And here, when they've said that correct to 2 decimal places, it means that we can't factorize it using the normal methods. So since we can't factorize it, what is it that we need? We now need to use our quadratic formula. And when we're using quadratic formula, we need to observe that 2 is A, and B is negative 3, and last but not least, we've got C, which is negative half. Now, before we go ahead and we use the quadratic formula, our C here, which is negative half, we've got a fraction, and we don't want to complicate matters by using a fraction. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to multiply by this denominator across the board, or on all terms, so that we don't deal with the denominator. So in other words, I'm now going to say 2 open bracket 2x squared close bracket minus 3x open bracket multiply by 2 minus 1 over 2 open bracket multiply by 2, which is equals to 0 multiplied by 2. Now, this 2 cancels out that 2. So in other words, when I now say 2 multiplied by 2 here, I've got 4x squared. Then here, negative times positive, it's a negative 3 times 2, that is 6x. And here now we're left with negative 1, which is equals to 0. Still more, we can't go ahead and use this. So remember, now our A has changed from 2, it's now 4. Our B is negative 6, and our C is negative 1. So I go to my quadratic formula. What's my quadratic formula? Let me write the quadratic formula here. It says negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, which is all over 2a. So what is my b? My b is negative 6. So now, because I'm solving for x, I start off by writing that x is equals to negative my b, which is negative 6, close bracket, plus or minus square root of my b squared, now I say negative 6 squared inside the bracket, minus 4 multiplied by my a is 4, so I write my 4 here, and my c is negative 1, so I write negative 1. I close the hood of the square root, I say all over 2 multiplied by my a is 4, so I multiply by 4 here. Then negative times negative, that's a positive, so here I've got what? I've got positive 6 plus or minus, this is now 36, a negative, that's a positive 16, all over what? All over 8. Now, I'm now going to say that my x1 is equals to 6 plus square root of 52 over 8, right? Or my x2 is equals to 6. Remember, it's plus or minus. So here the second x is I'm going to use a minus. Square root of 52 all over 8. x1 the first, x2 the second. Those are the answers which I'm looking for. Then here I come and say, therefore, Oh, sorry for a moment. Let me just adjust the camera. So I say, therefore, x1 is equal to, or x2 is equal to. Now, I need to go to my calculator so that I can round it off to 2 decimal places. So here I come, and then I now write that I've got 6 plus square root of what? Square root of 52 divided by 8, which is equals to that number. Now, the third decimal number I have is 1, which is less than 4. So we round it down to 1,65. So I've got 1,65, or I remove the positive there, just outside the square root. I now place a negative. I have deleted it. Then I come here. Then it gives me negative 0,151. It's also the third decimal number is less than 4. So final answer, negative 0,15. Negative 0,15. And just like that, I'm done. I found my 2 roots. 4 marks for that. Then, from there, we are now going to the third question. And the third question was simple. It was an inequality. And the inequality read as follows. We were given 3x squared plus 5x. So we write our 3x squared plus 5x. And we are told that it is more than or equal to 2. It is more than or equal to 2. And this question is for 4 marks. So first thing, I must transpose. So now I've got 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 is more than or equal to 0. Now here I have to what? I have to factorize. So when I factorize now, I say that I've got 3x squared plus 5x minus 2, which is equals to 0. Now I say 3x in one bracket, and I've got x in another bracket, and now I need the factors of negative 2, whereby when I add them, they give me positive 5. So here, these 3, since on my factors of negative 2, I've got negative 1 and positive 2, or positive 1 and negative 2. But because I want a bigger number, so I'm going to make my 2 to be positive. So here I come and I say plus 2. Why am I doing that? Because so that when I say 3 times 2, it gives me 6. And when I take this negative 1, when I now say 6 minus 1, it gives me that 5. So we say is equal to 0. So here now we've got 3x minus 1, which is equal to 0, or x plus 2, which is equal to 0. Now we say 3x is equals to, we transpose, now we've got a positive 1. And on the other side, we say x is equals to negative 2. So we have found that x is equals to negative 2. Now, let me just hold on in terms of saying therefore. Let me divide by 3 there. So I've got x is equal to a third, or x which is equal to negative 2. But remember, on a number line, you start at negative 2 and then you go to number 1/3. Now that we have found this, what is it that we need? We need to find out, remember the whole point of inequalities is the fact that we may not have one solution. We might have what? A multiple of solutions. So we need to find the solution. But since here we were told that more than or equal to, right? We don't have to waste our time trying to check or verify with this number, because this negative 2 that we have, obviously it will satisfy this inequality. Also this third, it will satisfy the inequality. So now what do? Let me do this. Let me go to a number line and say that here I've got negative 2, I've got negative 1, I have 0, I have 1, I have 2. Now I've got negative 3 here. Now what do? I draw my number line here. I extend it there. All right, so between negative 2 and the third, negative 2 is the smaller number. So I come here and then I shade here because I was told that negative 2 is part of the solution. And then because this is a third is less than 1, and a third is smaller than half, right? Remember, a third is 0.33. So I will put my line here. Now, the final part is to find out these solutions, are they found in between -2 and a third, or are my solutions from negative infinity to -2 and from a third going to positive infinity? So what do? I'm going to start with -3, and I'm going to substitute -3 where? Into this inequality. So in other words, I'm now saying 3 open bracket -3 squared plus 5. Where there is x, I'm substituting -3. And then we are told that it is more than or it is equal to 2. When I come to -3 squared here inside the brackets, it means that I've got 3 multiplied by 9 plus positive times negative, that's a negative. So I have a negative. 5 times 3, that's 15. 9 times 3, that's 27. 27 minus 15, it gives me 12. And 12 is more than 2. So which means that this side, that's where I'm finding my solutions. So my solutions start from negative infinity till I reach -2. And the moment I find this side, it means that my other answer, I'm going to find it that side. But I don't want to seem like someone who is doing some guesswork. What do? I'm going to substitute with 1 here. So where there was -3, I erase -3 and I now substitute with 1. So now I say that there is 1 there. 1 squared is 1, and 1 times 3, that is 3, plus 5 times 1, that is 5, and 3 plus 5 is equals to 8, and 8 is more than 2. So which means that my solutions are also on that side. Now that I have represented it on the number line, what does it mean, or how could I have represented this on an interval notation? I would have said that x are elements of not included. Why? Because negative infinity is the smallest number, and my solutions are starting from negative infinity. So I say negative infinity till I reach what? -2. But -2 is included. Now, I've got another section which is part of solutions. So now from probability, I was taught about union in grade 10. So I use the union sign. Then I say now I'm starting from a third. So third is included. So the square bracket represents that the number that I'm writing here, which is a third, is included till I reach positive fraction. But anything which is positive infinity is not included. Whether it's positive or negative infinity, we now use curly brackets to show that they're not included. And by doing this, I have fully answered the question, right? So I'm done. This is how you answer your inequality. Now we go to question 1.1.4. On question 1.1.4, we were provided with a what? We were provided with an exponential equation, and the exponential equation read as follows. We were given 2 to the power 2x and plus 2 to the power x minus 6, which is equal to 0, and it was for 3 marks. Now, on such a particular question, what do? First thing I need to understand that here I'm going to use K method in order for me to solve this, right? I need to factorize, but when it's like this, it seems like it's a little bit difficult. But how? What do I mean? Observe, I've got 2 to the power x here, and I've got 2 to the power 2x. But I could have found this 2 to the power 2x by saying that I've got 2 to the power x, and we multiplied by the exponent of 2 like that, right? So this part of 2 to the power x is identical to that part of 2 to the power x. So I've got common factors, then I can proceed to what? To factorize. So, but before I do that, I now come and I tell the examiner, because I want to use the K method, I now come and tell the examiner that let 2 to the power x equal to k, which means wherever there is 2 to the power x, I now use k. And yes, since we said that 2 to the power x existed, we say k, but there was a 2 which is outside, which now makes it to be k squared, right? So we've got k squared plus, here where it's 2 to the power x, we now use k minus 6 is equal to 0. Now that we have got k squared plus k minus 6, we now open the bracket, we say k is equal to, Now I need the factors of negative 6, which give me positive 1. So here obviously I've got negative 3 and positive 2, or positive 3 and negative 2. This and this gives me negative 6, but negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1. There is no negative 1, so I can't use these factors. This and that gives me negative 6, but 3 minus 2 gives me what? 1, which is this one, which is there. So this qualifies. So which means that one bracket now I'm going to say that I've got positive 3, the other bracket I've got negative 2, like that. Those are the factors. Now I continue. I now say that I've got k plus 3, which is equal to 0, or k minus 2, which is equals to 0. Therefore, I can conclude that my k... Oh, wait. I can't conclude. Don't make this mistake. When you have used the k method, it was for the convenience to what? To be able to solve this, right? But don't forget, they were asking, the question said we must solve for x. So now when I'm at this stage, I must now let k go back to its original form. So now I'm saying that I've got 2 to the power x, which is equal to 0, or 2 to the power x. Wait a minute. I made a mistake here. I'm not supposed to... Excuse me. I'm supposed to say 2 to the power x plus 3 is equal to 0, or 2 to the power x minus 2 is equal to 0, right? Now, I transpose this positive 3. I've got 2 to the power x, which is equal to negative 3, right? Or, on the other side, I've got 2 to the power x, which is equals to positive 2. So this one I can immediately say that this is invalid. Why? Because here my x were positive, so I can't continue because there's a negative here. However, here now I've got 2 to the power x, which is equals to 2. I divide by 2, I divide by 2. So I can conclude that therefore my x is equals to 1. This is the only answer. This one is not an answer. And for doing that, I get my 3 marks. So far, how many marks have we collected? Because the algebra section had 30 marks all in all. Last year, June 2025, Gauteng Province, right? So far, it's 4 plus 3, 7 plus 4, 11, 13. So 13 out of 30. 2 more marks for someone to get to 50%. All right. So we now go to question 1.1.5, whereby we are given something which looks complicated. However, in reality, it is not. We are given x squared minus 2x plus 3 plus x squared minus 2x, and then the numerator is 2, which is equals to 0. Now, we need to use the k method again. Why? Because observe the thing which I'm seeing. I've got x squared minus 2x here on the denominator. I've got x squared minus 2x as the first 2 terms. So I will come here and say, let x squared minus 2x equal to what? Equal to y. So when we say k method, it doesn't mean to say that you have to use the letter y only. You can use the letter y, or you can use the letter a. So which means that where there is x squared minus 2x, I no longer write these 2 terms, I now write letter y. So here, I'm now going to substitute that with y. So it now reads like this, my equation. Y plus 3 plus 2 over y is equal to 0. Just like that. Now, I don't want to continue working with what? With a denominator. So I'm going to multiply by y on all terms. So now it becomes y multiplied by y plus 3 multiplied by y plus 2 over y multiplied by y is equals to 0 multiplied by y. This y cancels out that y. And y times y gives us y squared plus 3 times y is equals to 3y. Here I've got plus 2, which is equals to 0. From there now, what do I need to do? I need to factorize. So which means that here on this side I've got y, and on the other side I've got y, which is equals to 0. Now I've got 2, and the factors of 2 are what? Positive 1 and positive 2, right? when I proceed now, I'm saying that I've got y plus 1 is equals to 0, or y plus 2 is equals to 0. But I must not forget I've got x squared minus 2x, which is being represented by y. So now I substitute and say that I've got x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, or I've got what? X squared minus 2x plus 2, which is equals to 0. Now, this x and x, what do I have here? I've got x and x, which is equals to 0. I've got a positive 1 here, there is a negative, which means here there was a negative and a negative. And for me to get 1, I only have got 1 and 1, right? And then when I go to the other side, I can't factorize this, right? Because if I try to find these 2, remember, I will have what? I can't do it. I can't do it. So in other words here now, I've got x minus 1, which is equals to 0. Observe, this is the same as saying that I've got x minus 1 what? Squared, because these are identical, which is equal to 0. And when I want to get rid of the squared, I must use a what? I must use a square root. So I use square root there, I use a square root there. Now I'm left with x minus 1, which is equals to 0. Therefore, my x is equals to 1, right? So this is my solution, right? Okay. So here on the other side, I write that this is invalid. Okay. All right. So let's go to 1.1.6, whereby we're given a SED. All right, so when we are dealing with SADs, you must remember to use your what? Your squared, right? So we are given x plus 5, square root of x plus 5 minus x, which is equals to negative 1. So first order of business, it is to transpose this negative so that it goes to the right-hand side. So now I say that I've got x plus 5, which is equals to x minus 1. This is a square root. Now, since I'm having this, like I said earlier on, I use a square to get rid of the square root. And what I've done on the left-hand side, I must do on the right-hand side. This cancels out that. So I'm left with x plus 5, which is equals to, now, this x minus 1 squared, it needs me to expand. So it becomes x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. So here I've got x plus 5, which is equals to x times x, that's x squared. Then positive times negative, that's a negative. 1 times x, it's x. Negative and positive, negative. 1 times x, that's x. Negative times negative, that's a positive. 1 times 1, that is 1. X plus 5 is equals to, now here we've got x squared, negative x, that's negative 2x plus 1. Now what am I going to do? Now I'm going to say 0 is equals to x squared minus 2x. This was a positive x, it becomes a negative x. Then here we've got positive 1, and this was a positive 5, it becomes a negative 5. As we continue, these two, this negative 2x and negative x, these are like terms. So negative 2x, negative x, it gives us what? Negative 3x. So we've got x squared minus 3x. 1 minus 5 is equals to negative 4. So now we say x squared minus 3x minus 4 is equals to 0. Now we factorize and we say that here we've got x, and there we've got another x, which is also equal to 0. We want the factors of negative 4, which gives us a negative 3. So which means that here I've got a positive 1 and a negative 4, because now this and that positive times negative, it will give us this negative, but 1 minus 4, it will give us negative 3, which is what is here. So as we continue now, we say that we've got x plus 1, which is equal to 0, or x minus 4, which is equals to 0. X is equal to negative 1, or x is equals to 4. Now observe, I'm not rushing to say that therefore. Why? Because now I must first satisfy, try and satisfy this side, meaning to say that where there is negative 1, I'm going to substitute it. So in other words, now I've got square root of negative 1 plus 5. Here there was minus x, which means there is minus, open bracket, negative, is equals to negative 1. Negative 1 plus 5, that's square root of 4. A negative times negative, that's a positive 1. Right? Square root of 4 is equals to what? It is equals to 2. And here, wait a minute, why am I writing positive 2? I've got 1 here. 2 plus 1 is equals to 3. But here we're given negative 1. So, which means that this negative 1